Did you know that there are several cultures around the world that believe that when one has received a big trauma or a serious illness, they have the opportunity to pass through a very narrow portal to another dimension entirely? In 1979, I had the great good fortune of beginning to learn from a teacher who gave me 3 basic principles that turned my world completely upside down. He said, look, if you want to be more peaceful, if you want to learn to really love yourself and love other people, you have to turn just about everything you think and everything you believe 180 degrees. And boy, was that true. So 2014, I had studied with this man for all these years, 35 years, and had found that just about everything he told me was very, very true. For instance, he said, you create your own reality with thought. Big switch there. He also said that the body is an effect of the mind. And the third thing he said was that everything that comes to you, everything, is for your benefit. So I experimented literally with my life with these principles, and in 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer. And now I had experimented with, yes, I create my own reality. Yes, I really believe that. I really believe that everything that came to me was for my benefit. But I had never experimented with my health. And this was to take me fully into these principles in a way that no other thing could have. But what I found was that the first step I had to take, and I realized this very quickly, was that I had to take full responsibility. And that meant going, I created cancer. And of course, then the question came up, why did I do this? And I think, doesn't everybody think that when they've received a trauma or a big diagnosis? Why me? Why did this come to me? Well, in finding this answer, and I was determined to do so, the first layer I came to was guilt, a huge stash of guilt. But my teacher had prepared me for this in many ways, basically saying that guilt was a total lie, that it was 100% inaccurate, and a belief system that was mightily destructive to us. And also, in the period of time when in the years that followed, I found something really fascinating, a complete 180-degree flip over the meaning of probably the most destructive word in the English language. And that word is the word sin. Sin is the symbol of the idea, no matter what religion you come from, the idea that we could do something so bad that nothing but severe punishment will make up for it, will balance it out. Now, you can see the birth of guilt and punishment very easily with this definition of sin. But once upon a time, there was a very kinder meaning to the word sin, and it was an archery term, which meant missing the mark. So you have this huge quiver of arrows. You want to hit the bullseye, which is, peace of mind, union with God, whatever your personal goal is. And you have limitless tries to learn how to hit it. And in fact, you have to miss it a whole bunch of times. So what happens to sin and guilt with this perspective? They're completely gone. And in fact, really, the universe is going, woohoo, you failed again. Because, every failure gets you a little closer to being able to hit that mark. So, if one word is this transformational, what might some other words be? And I came across them as I did this amazing inquiry that naturally followed after I took responsibility. And what I found was another word that greatly inhibited my inquiry. And it was the word lazy. What does lazy mean? Well, I had a real problem with this because in order to recover, I needed to be very lazy for a very long time. So I had to switch the meaning of it. Another word was selfish. Very pejorative word in the English language. And what does it mean? But I had to be very selfish in order to heal from this disease. And in fact, I had to put myself first, which is the first time I had ever done this. It took near death for me to actually put myself first. I found another word, and the word was nowhere. Nowhere. When one receives a big trauma or a big diagnosis, what I've seen across the board is everybody's future crashes at their feet. This carefully planned future just goes whomp, which is really why people start feeling nowhere. So they don't maybe have their job anymore. Everything's all confusing. Their mind's really befuddled. But if we look at the word itself, it's written right there. Now, here. Now we're in the present moment, which very possibly is one of the major reasons the trauma has come to us, or the disease, is to get us more present. And so I found that as I got more lazy and more selfish and translated nowhere to now here, I began to hear the whisperings of my soul, because I was still enough and quiet enough and uncomplicated enough. And what my soul wanted to say was, honey, you're off the mark. You're missing the mark a little bit. Now listen up. We're going to tell you where you're off and how you can correct it. I was really grateful for that. That was the whole inquiry followed after that in a very big way. So much so that I really got it, that illness was coming to give me a message. Illness was coming to give me treasures, and boy, did I receive a lot of treasure. I mean, I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't thank cancer for what it gave to me. So, when we look at what the so-called primitive people believe, I can see very clearly what that portal was. That portal was me taking responsibility. Everything changed from there. And then I entered that other dimension. And in that dimension, I was given everything I needed to heal from this disease mentally. I was given a tremendous amount. That was the other dimension that was so much better. It was such a better dimension. Now, there's one more word, which I think we have to really change the meaning of for ourselves, and that's the word stress. Everybody's talking about stress and disease and the combination and how bad stress is for us. But I feel we have to withdraw the meaning from the outside world, meaning the boyfriend, the children, the job, the stressful traffic, and take it inside and realize that all of our stress originates from the inside. And if we begin to call stress conflict, then we really get down to the basics. So conflict is self against self. And if we really look at all the ways we're against ourselves, all the ways we don't say things that we want to, all the things we don't do because we want to, and because society is telling us we can't, you can see it would be very, very hard on the immune system, having that much conflict inside ourselves. Well, I did all these wonderful lists of all my conflicts, from my hair to my shoes to thousands of them, and finally got down to some real basics. Those basics were, you have major conflict about life and death. My reasoning was, if you've attracted a very serious illness that could kill you, there must be parts of yourself that want to die. And this was the really big moment in my healing, when I made a list of the parts of me that wanted to die, and I recommend this for everyone. This list was what I then had to work with. Everything on that list had to be improved and brought up to a much better place. Now I realize that what illness is asking us to do in a very big way is change. Change and wake up, both of those things, very much so. Now, my teacher used to say that There are no neutral thoughts. Every thought you think is either taking you to, metaphorically, to heaven or to hell. Now, really think about that. That means that every moment of every day, we have the choice of what thoughts to think. We can sit and think about our guilt and invite guilt in and, not do anything about it and not think that it's really very important. But the fact is, if we choose to allow guilt and think about it, an entirely different world arises from the blameless attitude, right? This one is full of pain and suffering. This one is far, far easier. There are two dimensions, literally, on this earth. One is the pain and suffering one. One is the blissful one, if you will, heaven. Thought is the gateway between those two worlds. In fact, heaven is a choice. It's a choice that we make with our minds every minute of the day. Now, I want to ask you a really important question. Why wait for heaven? What will you choose? Thank you.